Hello, horror enthusiasts. Welcome to Storytelling Channel, where darkness and mystery converge. Tonight, prepare yourselves for a chilling tale titled The Kuntilanak in Gamping Village. This story will send shivers down your spine. Turn off the lights, make sure your door is locked, and listen carefully. Here is your short horror story before bed. The Kuntilanak in Gamping Village. In a small village called Gamping, there was an old house that had long been uninhabited. The house was known to be haunted by the locals. Many scary stories surrounded the house, one of which was the appearance of a kuntilanak. One evening, Booty and his friends, Rudy and Andy, decided to test their courage by entering the old house. They had heard various terrifying tales from the village elders, but they wanted to see for themselves if the stories were true. As night fell, the three friends entered the old house. The atmosphere inside was dark and stuffy. A foul smell filled the air. They explored every corner of the house with a sense of unease. When they reached the living room, they suddenly heard a faint sound of a woman crying. The three of them exchanged glances, trying to find the source of the sound. The crying grew louder and seemed very close. Their hearts pounded, fear beginning to take hold. Suddenly, from the corner of the room, a figure of a woman with long hair, a pale face, and tattered white clothes appeared. The figure stared at them intensely while laughing softly. "Kuntilanak!" Andy screamed as he ran towards the door. Booty and Rudy followed closely behind, trying to escape the house as quickly as possible. However, the door they had entered through was suddenly locked. They were trapped inside the haunted house with the kuntilanak. The kuntilanak continued to approach, her laughter growing louder. Booty and Rudy frantically searched for another exit. In a panic, they found a window at the back of the house and tried to open it, but it was tightly shut. They returned to the front door and tried to break it down. With all their strength, they tried to force it open. Rudy and Andy pushed with all their might while Booty looked for anything that could be used as a tool. As the kuntilanak drew closer, her laughter echoing throughout the room, the atmosphere grew more terrifying. Finally, with one last push, the door opened. They stumbled outside, panting from exhaustion and fear. However, as soon as they stepped out, they were shocked by the sight before them. Instead of being greeted by the yard of the house, they found themselves in an old cemetery filled with moss-covered gravestones. The moonlight illuminated the cemetery, adding to the eerie ambience. The night wind whispered softly, carrying faint voices that seemed to call them back inside. The three stood frozen, feeling an increasing sense of dread. In the distance, the sound of the kuntilanak's crying returned, growing fainter but no less terrifying. They realized that the old house might be a gateway to a place they should never have visited. Without speaking much, they ran as fast as they could to leave the cemetery, trying to find their way back to the village. But the more they ran, the more graves they saw around them. They kept running, feeling trapped in an endless labyrinth. Fear and exhaustion began to overtake them. Their bodies weakened, and their steps slowed. Finally, they collapsed and fainted in the middle of the seemingly unending cemetery. When morning came, faint voices reached their ears. They were awakened by gentle touches and concerned voices from the villagers. As they opened their eyes, they were shocked to find themselves in the yard of the old house. They rubbed their eyes, searching for the cemetery they had seen the night before, but it was nowhere to be found. The villagers helped them up and gave them water. The three friends looked at each other, bewildered and scared. They recounted their experiences to the villagers, but only received disbelieving looks. The old house appeared ordinary in the daylight, with no sign of the cemetery they had seen the night before. With mixed feelings, Booty, Rudy, and Andy vowed never to approach the old house again. They realized that there were many things in the world that couldn't be explained by logic, and perhaps it was wise to heed the advice of the village elders. This story reminds us that curiosity can lead us to frightening experiences, and sometimes it's best to listen to the advice of those who are older and wiser. Thank you for joining us for tonight's eerie tale, The Kuntilanak in Gamping Village. We hope you enjoyed the chills and thrills. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our spine-tingling stories. Sleep tight, and remember, the next nightmare is just around the corner. Good night, and sweet dreams.